We're staged for another run of nitro-fueled NHRA talk. It's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, with Marty Hough and 10-time NHRA winner Doug Herbert. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your hosts, Doug and Marty.
This is The Straight Line on drag racing. Thanks for stopping by our half hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. Robert Hight makes it 2 of 3 in Seattle this weekend, and Antron Brown walks away with another Top Fuel Wally. We'll talk to both today. The burnout is complete, and we're set to launch another edition of The Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast around the world, this is The Straight Line on drag racing at MRN.com. Along with 4-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert, I am Marty Hough, and we're wrapping up the Western Swing. And Doug, by the time we get to the Western Swing, the cream usually rises to the top, and the winners at Seattle really kind of proved that out.
Well, and it's amazing. Year after year, the guys, typically the best contenders for the championship are the ones that win 2 or all 3 races out there on the West Coast. So pretty impressive for Robert Hight and also Antron Brown, both of our guests this week. Yeah,
Antron, now the numbers are just ridiculous. And here, let me look this up here before we go much further.
Not to mention Drew Skillman and the Gray Motorsports team.
Yeah.
Out there the last 4 races, they have won all those races. So all of the KB Racing last year that kind of dominated almost the whole season, that's gone now. So interesting things happening there as well.
Yeah, 16 races so far this year, 9 final rounds for Antron Brown, 7 of the last 9, 4 straight for Antron, that's being finals, 4 total wins on the season, and he's also the points leader. I'm not sure you can dominate any more than what the Matco team has done so far in 2017.
Well, that team is so strong. Well, they've got the number 1 in the car for a reason, and they've had it on there a couple times. And Antron, I'm sure he'll share with us again, but between Brian Karate, Mark Oswald, a lot of our longtime drag racing fans would know Mark Oswald. Yeah. He's been a championship driver, championship crew chief many times over. Brian Karate, they've just got an incredible team over there, and that team hasn't changed in a long time. They have the same base crew as they've had for quite a few years.
Yeah. And Robert Hight making it 2 of 3 on the Western Swing, really with a bit of a stumble at Sonoma and losing to eventual finalist Tim Wilkerson. They've really kind of figured it out. And it seems like Jimmy Prock has come over to John Force Racing, got all the available parts and pieces that they're working with, because what they're working with at Force is going to be different than at Schumacher's.
Right.
And he's kind of figured it out.
Schumacher's are making a lot of their own parts, and Force's team are making a lot of their own parts. So different things, not necessarily, in the old days it was you had Ellen Johnson or Brad Anderson or Ken Vinny. Now all these teams are making their own parts. So things are different, and Prock has figured out which parts to use that are the best for his combination, and it kind of goes to show. I mean, the Team Force cars have had low ETs, top speeds many times this week, and I'm thinking maybe more than the Schumacher cars have won more races, but I think Force's cars have had low ET and top speed maybe even more times than the Schumacher car.
Yep, the performance is there. The consistency has not, and we'll talk to the 2009 champion in just a minute. And when we return, we will talk to Seattle winner Robert Hight. Joins us next.
I'm Steve Letarte, STP auto expert and former crew chief. I know what it takes to keep engines performing at their best. STP's latest breakthrough additive, STP Ultra 5-in-1 plus Fuel System Cleaner plus Fuel Stabilizer, delivers 3 times the amount of cleaning agents versus premium gasoline and helps keep fuel fresh during storage. For over 60 years, STP has been on the cutting edge developing products to help engines run better, longer.
1 bottle contains 3 times by weight the amount of cleaning agents compared to 20 gallons of the leading premium gasoline.
Arctic Cat Wing Nation will be live from the 57th Annual 5-Hour Energy Knoxville Nationals on MRN.com. I'm Steve Post. Join me and Aaron Evernham live from Knoxville Raceway. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest Knoxville National happenings and talk to all your favorite drivers. Arctic Cat Wing Nation live during Nationals Week on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 7 to 8 Eastern and Saturday 4:30 to 5:30 Eastern Time. Join us live at Knoxville or listen on MRN.com.
MRN.com, your online destination for all things NASCAR. Looking for the latest NASCAR news? MRN.com. NASCAR stats for fantasy racing? MRN.com. Opinion pieces from award-winning motorsports writers? MRN.com. Race schedules, series standings, and photos? MRN.com. Live race streaming and audio and video podcasts that you can't miss? MRN.com. Stay up to date with all things NASCAR. MRN.com.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Thanks for being with us today on The Straight Line. And when you win 2 of 3 races on the grueling Western Swing, you know things are going right. And joining us on the guest line right now is the winner in Denver and also Seattle. And he is the driver of the Auto Club Chevrolet for John Force Racing. He is Robert Hight. Robert, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Congratulations, 2 of 3, dude.
Thanks, guys. It's pretty cool to get to call you 2 out of 3 weeks. After that, I think it was before that, it was almost a year before I talked to you. So, yeah, it's been a good couple weeks. And even Sonoma, we didn't get the win there, but, set a new speed record and ran really well. So it's things are starting to click.
Robert, tell us about that. Almost 340 miles an hour at Sonoma. That really, that run got a lot of attention. Yeah. I mean, I saw it on Sports Center. I saw it on a whole bunch of different places all around. That made news more than just our little drag racing crowd.
That was pretty cool. Jimmy, leaving Topeka, we kept saying, this thing will run 340 miles an hour because we had put some early runs together and speed at half track and, and then the back half wouldn't be that good or vice versa. And if you could put 2 of them together, the thing will run 340. And my God, was 1/1300th of a mile an hour off. But it was pretty impressive, and it takes great condition. That's a great racetrack. And Doug, as you know, when the Marine Lair rolls in on a Friday night there and gets cool, boy, look out! It's going to be fast.
Hey, Robert, how about, you jumped up, you're 3rd in points, and you're kind of closing in on who's in front of you. Unfortunately, second round of semis, you had to race your own team cars with Courtney and John. Hopefully the latter can turn around differently in the future where maybe you can race them in the semis and the finals instead of earlier.
Exactly, and that just goes down to qualifying. We all have to do a better job and make better runs. If you're top 4, you're not going to race till the semis or final. And anything below 4, look out. It's game on. But I think John was way down there, and finally that one of the runs he stepped up. So it's not fun racing your own team, and we kind of need to get some of those other guys out of there early, kind of control our own destiny. But anyway, at least the Chevy got in the winner's circle. John was happy. And things are starting to turn around over here. We're starting to get a little more consistent, and the performance is there. We just have to make better runs on Sunday and better decisions.
Well, you're definitely getting more consistent because you guys had low ET of every single round on Sunday, and I think low ET of at least maybe all the qualifying sessions too. I mean, you clobbered.
It was 3 of 4 in qualifying, and the one that we weren't, we were second. So we only missed out on 1 point. Possible in Seattle, and that's how we're moving up the ladder. I mean, some of these, I think we gained 11 points in qualifying.
Wow!
And shoot, that's half a round.
Right. Yeah,
no kidding.
Absolutely. And the Jimmy that we refer to is, of course, crew chief Jimmy Prock, and he said after the race that, quote, "the 6-disc has been kicking my butt." And, of course, he means the 6-disc clutch. And I had forgotten when we had talked to Jack Beckman over the last couple of years, he had mentioned that Jimmy was staying with the 5-disc clutch while most of everybody at Don Schumacher was in the 6-disc mode. So when did he decide to make that change over to the 6-disc? And how long has he been kind of working on that with the other guys, with Mike Neff and with Danny Hood?
Well, we had been running the 6-disc clutch over here for a couple years. We had decided we needed to do it at least 2 years ago. It was right after Jimmy left here. And, Jimmy was having good luck over there with his 5-disc, and he'll be the first to tell you right now, his struggles last year were because he stayed with the 5-disc too long. And, it's sometimes you just might have a certain batch of clutch discs that you can make a 5-disc work, and then next year you've got to change your pack and the shuffle of discs, and it won't work. So he got over here, saw what we had been doing, and went to testing and kind of ran it the way that Mike Neff had been running it. And Jimmy, being Jimmy, started changing and putting different levers in it and staggering things, and he has definitely got it working the way he wants it. And it's kind of funny, now Mike Neff is looking to see what Jimmy's doing, and that's what, you know, multiple car teams, that's the benefit of having them. Work together, learn from each other, try things, and starting to click.
Man, no kidding. Tell us about 250 wins now for John Force Racing. Yeah. That's a pretty big number, and obviously Force. I remember back from the old, win in Montreal 100 years ago. 250 wins is a pretty stout number. You guys got to be very proud of that.
That is, I am proud of getting that 250 wins. But if you really look at who has the most of those wins, that's what's amazing to me. John is almost 150 himself. That is staggering, and that's something that no one will ever touch, not even close. It's pretty cool. And I was lucky enough to get the 200th win racing Mike Neff in Topeka a few years ago, and then we get 250 this weekend. So a lot of teams don't have 250 with multiple cars in different classes. 250 in the funny car class, pretty impressive.
Yeah, and no question about that. And speaking of Jimmy Prock, his son Austin Prock is now kind of in the John Force pipeline. As the president of John Force Racing, where is Austin right now in his development and trying to get into the Nitro ranks?
Well, he went to Frank Hawley's school in the springtime, did the Super Comp class, and Frank said he did a great job. And since then, he's driven an A fuel car a couple times at Indy. In fact, I think today he's driving an A fuel car out there doing some testing. So he's doing well. Later on in the year, we're going to get him out in the alcohol funny car, Frank Hawley's, and then keep going with that. But I would say early next year we're going to start putting him in the nitro car to make runs and testing, and spend all of next year testing him. And I think he could be ready for 2019. Wow,
that's pretty impressive. Huh. You got a whole nother batch of drivers over there, and another second generation, and kind of a family member as long as Brock's been over there. Yeah.
It's fun to watch Austin. He is gung ho about it. I mean, that's all he thinks about. And he used to race some dirt cars and pavement cars, ovals, and he pays attention. He's got his dad's focus, and he's going to be good.
39 wins on your career, Robert. Are you much? I mean, we just talked about 250, and obviously that's impressive. 39 wins is also impressive. Do you look much at your own stats?
Not really. Actually, I look at them when we were struggling so much, wondering when I was going to get that next one. And but no, it's you can't. I don't know. It's tougher to win today than it ever has been. So when you can get a win, it really means something. The competition is tough. And when I started, I think I had some more wins in the beginning, and it was a little easier to win. But a weekend like we had last weekend, they don't come around very often where you basically have a dominating car. And we did. We had 400 or 500s on everybody in qualifying, race day, and you just dream of weekends like that. And those weekends aren't going to come around very often, because these other guys, they're close. They're going to step up, and you're seeing lots of close side-by-side racing. So the weekend we had there, we need to cherish that, but also know got to work hard to try to stay on top.
And if you're a fan of numerology, 39 right now seems to be the number for Robert Hight. 39 wins. He ran 3:39 at Sonoma, which set the all-time speed record. And He's also at 399 as far as round wins on his career. So the next round win, probably coming at Brainerd here in a couple of weeks, will get him to number 400. But right now, 39 seems to be the number for Robert Hight. Hey, real quick before we leave, you had a bit of a scramble at the during the final. Can you explain that?
Yeah, let's go back to 39. I wish I was 39 years old. Nice.
Yeah, me and you both.
But definitely, yeah, in the final, and Doug knows this, I try to shallow stage first, second, and third round because lane choice can be a big deal. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But I think mentally it's a big deal. So, but the final round, you don't care. You just want to get in there and be ready. And so what I was doing is I took a bite at the tree, and I was going to stop, and I'm like, okay, then I'll have one more bite, and I'll be in there and be ready. Well, I went a little further than I anticipated, and it lit the light when I stopped, and it came off, and then back on and off. And so I had to just let go of the brake and get in there, and my heart stopped because it's like you don't want to be messing around and be that shallow or even be thinking about the light flickering in the final round. You want to get in there and be ready and stand on the gas when it comes. So, yeah, that was a little distracting. I was kind of hoping it would distract Tommy Johnson, but it didn't. He had a great light, but I had the horsepower and the car to win, and that's all we needed on Sunday.
Well, you got it done, and it didn't throw your reaction time off very much, so you didn't put too much thought into that. You were focused on what you needed to do and winning the race.
Well, if I could have screwed up there and he ran good enough, you can win and lose right on that starting line. So I got to do a better job of my strategy.
Well, Robert Hight, congratulations. 2 wins on the Western Swing. Great job. That all-time top speed, and then the win again this last weekend at Seattle. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck in Brainerd coming up, and when the points reset in Indy, man, you're going to be right towards the top of the heap.
Yeah, we're peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
We actually don't have a weekend off. John and I are going to Norwalk, Ohio.
Right.
There's a match race, Night Under Fire. That's always a good time. And we're going to go in there and make a couple runs during the day and do some testing. Jimmy's got a full list of things he wants to try and test to get better. So we're going to use this weekend, to learn and get better, and hopefully right back into it at Brainerd and try to get another win.
Enjoy the ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. A pound for a buck. That's pretty good.
Winner at Seattle this weekend in 2 or 3 on the Western Swing. Robert Hight, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Robert Hight, driver of the Auto Club Chevrolet for John Forrest Racing. 39 wins on his career, and hoping to make it one more before they head to Indy for the U.S. Nationals. When we return, speaking of big winners and lots of them, when we return, we will talk to Antron Brown.
So what are your favorite drivers really thinking? We'll tell you each weekday on NASCAR Today, midday.
Getting married has been incredible. I wish I had figured all this out sooner.
Get the latest news from the sport and the opinions of NASCAR's biggest stars.
Changing over to Ford will open up some opportunities and possibilities and some just pure potential for the team.
That's NASCAR Today, midday. Weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
MRN's Throwback Thursday, the greatest races in NASCAR history.
Richard Petty comes to the outside of Benny Parsons, and ladies and gentlemen, it will be Richard Petty victorious in the STP Dodge.
Listen Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on MRN.com or the MRN app.
And Dale Earnhardt has won the Daytona 500.
On demand in the MRN.com Media Center or on iTunes and Google Play.
Jeff Gordon wins the Southern 500 and the Winston Noble $5 million bonus.
Throwback Thursday on MRN.com.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
It's all a family sport.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Brad Keselowski will win.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
We just have to find the value package that connects a new generation of fans.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
It's The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, once again, here's Doug and Marty.
Big thanks to Robert Hight for joining us on the straight line. And just a little bit earlier, I threw out the numbers. And before he gets on here, I'm just going to throw these out again because these are just crazy numbers. 16 races, 9 final rounds, 7 of the last 9, and 4 straight. 4 wins on the season, and he's also the points leader on top of everything else. Well, not on top of everything else because he's a handsome man. He's on TV, and you know, what can I say? He's the driver of the Matco Tools Top Fuel Dragster for Don Schumacher Racing and winner at Seattle. Antron Brown joins us. Antron, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Not as good as you are.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact.
Man, congratulations. Awesome awesome win out there. You know, a couple wins out there now on the West Coast. You guys had a great Western swing and looking good going into the countdown.
Absolutely, Doug. And, I mean, I can't complain about it, man. It was a great Western swing. If you could go out and just win one of the races, you've done something great. And to sneak out there with 2 wins and a runner-up and to come out of there with the points lead, it really put us in a really good position for these last 2 races where we can really compete with old Steve-O and that Capco team for this #1 spot. And Leah also, I mean, she's right there. She's only 70 points behind herself, so she could do one race swing and be in the points lead like we did also. So it's going to be challenging this year, man. I don't even know if we need to count down the way these points are going right now.
Yeah,
right.
Terry McMillan in the finals, you had to be looking at that, Antron, and going, hey, this guy's kind of wearing a glass slipper around this weekend. Were you thinking once you got to that final that, hey, this may be Cinderella coming into this to the Seattle race?
Hey, I tell you what, Rob Wendland, Terry McMillan, and that whole team, they've been working really hard, man, since last year to this year to get to where they're at right now. And when, it didn't surprise anybody, it just shocked people first round because he threw a monster blow. Where, I mean, we saw Terry go 72, 73, 74 this year when the conditions were mine shaft. Yeah. And they were like, all right, but when you throw a blow out there on the track that was 100 and I believe the track was 112 degrees, he comes out there and he went out there and he threw out a run that was mind-boggling with a 372, and it got everybody was like, oh, Lord, and you took out the points leader in the same blow. And we're like, oh, man. And then think about it, once that happened, I was like, I better be on my P's and Q's right here to make sure that we can try to get around and get some points on Steve-O. And fortunately, we was able to do it, but that wasn't a Cinderella story. That was just a long time at work, and it finally came to light for Terry and the team. And hey, man, hats off to him.
Hey, Antron, tell us about second round. Your reaction times are always really good, and then second round you had a little bit of a hiccup. What happened to cause that distraction second round?
Well, what happened for me was that well, Doug, you know how I stage, right? You know I never just throw it in there.
Yep.
And what I did was I went to bump in, and obviously when I staged the car the first time, when I was in the stage, I didn't take enough, in the pre-stage. I didn't roll the car in deep enough in the pre-stage where all I had to do was just bump in to light the bulb up, because that's what I do all the time. And what I did was I let the deal out the stage, and the car didn't stage. And then I let it out again, and right when I let it out, I didn't see the bulb come on, and then when I pushed the brake, the light flickered on and went solid, and then I was already letting the brake out again to stage the car again.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So then when I did that, right when I let the brake out, I said, oh, it's solid. Then I went to pull the brake, but by the time I got the brake handle pulled back, the tree came down and caught me like that, and I stepped on the gas pedal and tried to go as quick as I could. And
well, it worked.
I knew, when soon as I let the brake handle go the third time and the car was already staged, I knew I was in trouble, because I was like, I got to get this back in and get set because my foot's already in there. But, you're usually calm and still looking at the tree, and I wasn't. I was looking at the top bulb still to see if I was staged. So,
right. Well, and the car kind of rocks back and forth, and some other things happen. It messes up the balance maybe a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, that was just my fault. That was totally my fault, and I hiccuped on it. But the good part is that we were able to rebound. I mean, we got through it, and we got lucky that Doug Cook and Mike Salinas had some problems right there going down the racetrack. If not, man, I would have been on the outside looking in real quick, trust me.
Well, I know that doesn't happen very often with you, so that's not a big thing. That's why I looked at that and I'm like, I wonder what happened. Something happened out of the normal there. The #1 qualifier, you guys just seem to keep getting that job done. Brian Karate, Mark Oswald, you guys have been together a long time, got a lot of really good synergy. Man, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
No, we're you know what, Doug, the only thing we're trying to do is refine what we have. We're always trying to get, that's what I love about our team with Bryant, Mark, Brad, and all of our macro guys is that we're always working to be better, including myself. Like, I just don't sit there and sit stagnant. Yeah, I'm good. I can do this or I can do that. And Brian and Mark don't sit there and go, hey, we got a great tune-up. Let's just leave it alone.
Right.
We're always looking to be better, and you're always evolving it to make the car more efficient, where you're able to put those numbers out in the heat, in the sun, when the track gets good, when the track is average. We just want to try to make sure that we can run hard on any condition, because that's what it's going to take to win a championship now. And when you're going out there racing like we do, like Steve-O, myself, Tony, my teammate Leah, and Doug, we all know that when you line up, people know that those cars are like the cars that, like, you know, they competed for the championship these last several years. And people look at them, and when they race us, they want to take everybody out. They want to take them out. And they're putting those blows up to the deal, just like Terry did to Steve-O first round. Like, everybody I race have their best light, and they run their best ET, and we have to try to do that to beat them.
Antron mentioned TV in the Open, and we're not fooling either, because here a couple weeks ago on BBC America, Top Gear America premiered. I had an opportunity to see a couple of those episodes. It's really fun stuff. Tell us how this all kind of came about, working with Bill Fitchner and Wookie Ford, because for gearheads like us, I mean, this is like heaven.
Well, I tell you one thing is that I actually got a phone call, and I've done some other TV stuff, you know, throughout the years. Like, I did a stint with Barry Weiss on Storage Wars. Yeah. And then I was Idris Elba's mentor on No Limits, which was a BB show. It was a full hour segment show of like a 4 series, just like a 4 episode series for Idris Elba, him doing some extreme stuff. And I was on one of the shows with him the whole show. And then people were like, you know, some of the people were like, some of the production people and some of the producers were like, you ever do TV? And I'm like, no, like, I did little stuff on TV before, because, like, you're perfect for TV. You go, you don't even know the camera's there, and you're a natural at it. I'm like, really? I'm like, I just do me. That's all I know how to do. And and then when I got a phone call literally like after I did the Idris deal like a year later, and it wasn't from them. It was from the Top Gear deal, and they said they saw me doing different stuff. They looked up and saw our racing like on TV interviews, and they were looking for a professional driver, and I was in the running for being one of the hosts on Top Gear if I was interested. I said, absolutely. So I came to a chem test, like the last test that they have with everybody there meeting, and I was able to audition for the show. And I met Bill there at the show, and I was like, man, that's William Fichtner. And he was like, and then he had the same thing in his mind. He goes, this is Antron Brown. It was crazy because he's a huge NHRA drag racing fan, and he's a huge NASCAR fan too. And he's like real good friends with Bernstein. He's been coming to Pomona for years. And then Tom Ford was there, and he sat with us, and we were all just chatting, and we had a good time. And then we did a skit with each other. And when we did it, we were just ourselves, and the producers went crazy, and we're like the last ones to go together. And right there, when you see the producers laughing, falling over, chuckling, and you see all the other people that were auditioning looking at us like deer in the headlight look, they were like, this is going to be good. And that's how it all started. And that's how I got into it. And then from there, the rest of it was just been shooting we shot 8 episodes starting at the end of March, and we ended at the end of May. And I tell you what, I never flew and lived out my suitcase like that in a long time, brother. I went home for like twice for 2 months.
Oh, man. Hey, Antron, one thing I want to do, too, is thank you for always helping breaks and coming to our breakfast and doing all our stuff. And then now we've got your teenage driver. Your daughter's going to be coming, hopefully do a program before too long. And, you know, her dad's obviously a great driver. We're going to teach her how to be a safe driver, too.
Well, Doug, that's why I'm sending her to your school, so you could make her a better driver than her dad. And
we're looking
the thing
forward
about it
to
is Ariana is just, she's 15 and she just finished off her stuff online right now, and she's got to take like a drive along deal with an instructor now and do the driving portion of her stuff, and then she'll have her learnings permit where I can let her drive me around even more frequently, and not just on like behind our race shop and stuff like that. I can let her take me out on public roads. So this has been a process right now, but you know, as a parent, you get nervous and worried because just like when my kids started racing these junior dragsters, is that you're watching them, and you always can't watch and see them, and you just hope that you have gave them the right tools to be safe out on the road, and you have to watch out for other drivers, not just them driving, but watching out for other ones that won't get them in trouble or have them in an accident. So that's why I love your brakes program. What you guys do out there is incredible with these students and all these new drivers are getting behind the wheel, because you're teaching them skills that they never knew that they even could learn or knew that they should have. And it's a must to have, especially in this day and era in driving.
Man, Antron, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you and your daughter come to a class before too long. And congratulations on your great performance here at the Western Swing. Good luck going into Brainerd and the countdown in Indy.
I appreciate it, man. We're going to need it. I tell you what, this competition is no joke. And we're going to buckle down, and we're just going to give it everything we got. And hopefully we could just be at the end challenging for that championship again.
Driver of the Matco Tools Top Fuel Dragster for Don Schumacher Racing, that is Antron Brown joining us on the straight line. When we return, we'll wrap up another great edition of the show.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hi, this is Joey Meyer, championship spotter, adequate pilot, and co-host of MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Join Woody Kane and I every Monday at noon on MRN.com as we debate the biggest stories in NASCAR.
Back for a year again is Kyle Petty.
I always laugh when we talk about a race car driver designing a race car track. Let me do it. Oh, there it was. I just designed one. Woo, I made a circle.
Log in every Monday at noon or anytime on demand at MRN.com for MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse.
Being there matters, and your United States Navy protects and defends America on the world's oceans. Around the globe, around the clock, Navy ships, submarines, aircraft, and, most importantly, tens of thousands of America's finest young men and women are ready to defend America when piracy threatens global commerce, when disaster strikes, or when called upon by the Commander-in-Chief. Your Navy is there. When it comes to protecting and defending America, being there matters, and America's Navy is already there.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, back to Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Big thanks to Antron Brown. Didn't get an opportunity to mention this, but I'm going to call my shot right here. 49 Top Fuel wins right now for Antron Brown. I'm calling my shot right now. He gets number 50 at Indy.
You're giving up on him in Brainerd?
I'm not giving up on him, but I just think it's in the cards that he will do something dramatic. 50 at Indy just seems really dramatic. You know, I wouldn't put it past him to go to Brainerd and win, but I'm going to say 50 at Indy. Big news coming out this week for Don Schumacher Racing. Doug Chandler, the widower of Terry Chandler, who passed away back in July, has agreed to finance the two teams that Terry Chandler has for the last couple of years, the Make-A-Wish car and the Infinite Hero car, through 2020. That's huge for Don Schumacher Racing. It's huge for the sport.
Well, yeah, to have a long-term sponsor like that, and just such a neat program that Terry has been able to put together over there at Schumacher Racing. It's incredible to, you know, they help a lot of kids. They're making a lot of difference with soldiers, and yeah, super deal. We're glad that they're able to continue on that program. And that's not a cheap program either.
No.
Those charities are not putting any money into those cars. That's all private funding that goes in to help promote the charities. It's basically free advertising for those charities, so that's great thing.
Yeah, it started back in 2013 when Tommy Johnson had a car that was that was at Riley Hospital on it, and that just kind of morphed into the deal that they have now. And we're very grateful for Terry Chandler to start that, and her husband now is continuing that legacy. Thanks to everybody involved, including Robert Hight and Antron Brown. So for Doug, I am Marty. We will talk to you next week right here on The Straight Line on MRN.com.
You've been listening to The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. The Straight Line is the show for drag racing fans and was brought to you by Hercules Tires. Tune in again next Thursday on MRN.com and the MRN app. The Straight Line is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. The Straight Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.